Tell me all about it, Vinny.
It's just something that I acquired maybe 30, 35 years ago. And I've had them ever since. Well, there's not a great deal more I can tell you.
You don't know anything about it, or what sort of
It's
tribe?
the first time today that I've actually know that you call the case a quiver. I don't really know a great deal more about them.
Where does one go with something like this? I mean, it's really interesting. Very old, I'd say. It's got to be Victorian.
Do you actually think they are for hunting or...?
There's little barbs here, and I wouldn't have thought they'd have had a barb on it for killing an animal to eat.
No.
Why have that? I mean, some have, some haven't. Maybe they were for killing humans, who knows? The case looks in really good condition for its age.
Yeah.
This is the end bit. It's probably been dropped a couple of times there, but it's still all there.
Yeah.
And we've got some markings here, which would probably help, you know...
Identify it.
Yeah, identify where it originally came from. Cane sticks. So somewhere where cane grows, I'd have thought maybe South America, something like that. Africa, yeah, somewhere like that where they grow naturally in the wild. Chancy lot, I really don't know where to go with it. But anyway, I'm going to have a go. You've got an idea of its value?
I've got a rough idea, I suppose.
Well, shoot me dead when I'm going over.
Well, I'll tell you when you go under.
20, 40, 60, 80.
No, not quite.
Not quite. So I'm close.
You're close. You know, I think you're in the ballpark what I'm looking for. You know.
Well, we can look at the arrows, and there's 4 that are good. All the rest have got some kind of damage. I'm kind of sticking it around about the 80.
You don't think do you find it unusual? I mean, it's an unusual horse, isn't it? I mean,
Very unusual. I'm going to go another tenner. Make it a 90.
if you make it a round figure, 100, I'll see I'll deal now. Another tenner on.
Smile like that, how can I refuse? There you go, there's a one of in.
That's very kind of you.
Thanks
you
very much.
Thank you.
Tell me about your Lladro. Where did you get it from?
I got it about 8 years on an auction site, and I've got plenty of other pieces.
So you're a bit of a collector, are you?
About 40 to 50 pieces.
You're more than a bit of a collector.
But the thing is, this big piece has been on the dining room table, and when my grandchildren come, it has to be moved out the way, and it just seems a waste.
Well, it's like so impressive, the detail on it. I'm not surprised. So, am I right in thinking this is probably, what, 20 to 30 years old, this piece?
Yeah, it's been retired for 25 years.
So, you can't buy this one anymore, it's finished. Does it have a name, John?
Yes, it's called Ladies Under a Willow Tree.
Very fitting. I just can't imagine, you said you bought it from an auction site, how much this would have cost actually in the shop from new. I would imagine...
I know what it costs.
In the thousands, I would imagine.
1,300.
Right, and that's now
pounds,
it's retired and things.
Yeah.
But it is a specialised market.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very nice. The detail and the work is absolutely gorgeous. It reminds me of sort of Dresden china.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing of great quality. So I'll get some money out. I'm sure you've got an idea of how much you'd like. Right, £50.
No.
Knew you'd say that. How about 100?
No.
It's a firm shake of the head. How about 150?
No.
I'm a bit worried. I'm not sure who I'm going to sell it to. David.
Well, I'm sure you can find someone. Some of your friends perhaps have got a lovely home, want something decorative, something to make a statement, and what you've got here is very much a statement piece. The independent valuers are saying 150 to 250. You've got £150 on the table there. I think that's being a bit mean. I don't think it's enough money. Now, you've bought this in an auction. What did it cost you 8 years ago?
220.
OK. I think it's still worth that kind of money, myself. It's got a compelling look to it. It really does have something.
Well, it's not much more. 170. I'm just concerned it's just not quite as wanted as it was.
I don't think it's quite enough. I would rather go to auction.
best.
Thank you very
Good
much
luck
indeed.
at auction.
Thank you.
I think he might get his money back. In fact, I think he might even do a little bit better if the right person's there on the day.
Does our auctioneer agree with you?
We do seem to do quite well with it in the Liverpool sale room, so I'm quite hopeful it'll make 200 to 300 once everyone's had a good go at it. So I think that'll be finding a new home.
We're hoping you're right, Adam.
130, 140 online.
John can't make the auction, so the Duke is here to take care of business.
Now there's a little bit of a problem. Here in the sale room, a little bit of damage was done to the parasol. I brought this up to the auctioneer and said, look, what are we going to do about it? He says he's prepared to forego his commission, which I think is more than fair. The reserve was £170, so is it going to make the £170, which is only the same as what Cheryl offered in cash? Well, we're about to find out.
A big, wonderful, great big piece of Lladro figure group there, and I bid 170 and 180 already.
It's already at 180.
At 180, 190, 200, 200 the bid. At £200, 810. £200 this one now, 10 online, 220 my bidder. At 220, 220 bid, 220.
220.
I'll take 230 anywhere else though. At 220, it's going with my bidder here, who's also in the room, at £220.
OK, £220. I'm going to say there's no deduction from commission there, so it's going to be a net £220 that's going to be sent off to John, which was more than the 170 you were offered on the day. Real deal, £220. It's on its way to you, mate.
John has got to be happy with that. He got exactly what he paid for it 8 years ago. There's time for just one more deal. Let's go over to Alison's table where Paul is already shaking in his boots.
Seen Alison on the telly and she scares me quite a little bit, but I'm going to keep pushing for that £400.
I could not be more excited by the next piece because I intend to buy it. And if you want to know how much for, that's between my nose and where I keep my money.
Why not put your money where your mouth is instead, Alison?
Lovely. And you have brought in, joy of joys, this wonderful Royal Doulton jug.
Yep.
So how come it belongs to you?
Well, it was my great-grandfather's, and then he intended to pass it down to all the boys on his side of the family. And then in the end, it ended up with my mum, and then she gave it to me on the condition that I split half the profits with my sister.
Now, what you have here is Royal Doulton. This was designed, and it was the birth child of two men, Noak and Fenton, and they produced a series of 27 jugs, and this was their first one. And each of the jugs were limited editions, and they depicted very traditional English scenes. So what we have here is a very typical English scene. We have a lovely riding crop handle. We have our sneaky little fox dressed in his hunting gear, hiding behind the wonderful English oak from the hounds having the last laugh. The cockerel spout with very evil looking eyes. Beautiful rolling countryside and everything that every American wanted to buy, because these jugs were produced to capture our Englishness.
Do you have any idea how old it is?
Yes, everything is on the bottom of the jug. It's 1930, and we know that this is number 208 of 500. Now, I very happily have, in my lifetime, owned every single jug of this type. And this is the fourth time I've had one of these.
Right.
So I'm quite excited by it. But how do you feel about it?
I don't particularly like it. I appreciate the history behind it, but I think it's quite ugly.
Okay. And do you have an idea of its value?
I have a pretty good idea, I think.
Right, well, I'm going to try and buy it off you, Paul.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, go on.
100. 200, 300,
And the rest.
and the rest,
And the rest.
400, 500.
Keep going.
Are you pleased that it's worth that kind of money?
Yeah, that's round about what I thought it. Close enough. Still. More at the bottom end.
Yeah. 550.
No. Can't split that with my sister, can I? It's a bit odd.
Well, Paul, all I can tell you is that of all the people that you could have come to, you've come to the right person, because it is something I understand very, very well. I know the market on it, and with this piece, I even know who I can sell it to. And I'm very happy to share some of that profit with you. It's a very good offer.
Well, if that's the most you can go, then I think I'll be happy to accept your offer.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Paul.
Alison wasn't as bad as I thought she was. She's not as scary, so me and my sister will be happy with the money.
I was a little taken aback that Paul seemed to think that I was an unpleasant, nasty, hard-nut dealer. I don't know where he got that from, really.
Who knows, Alison, but your offer won him over in the end. But not all our dealers are laughing today.
We're dealing.
Tony bought Caleb's Liberty clock with the confidence that he had a buyer to sell it on to.
I know exactly where it's going to go and who it will go to.
So who's that then, Tony?
I think, what was his name again?
Tony's imaginary buyer still hasn't materialised, and he hasn't sold the arrows and quiver either.
Oh,
And Cheryl's in the same boat.
Brooches are not the easiest thing to sell.
And she was right, it's still sitting in her shop. Henry did slightly better when he snapped up the Iron Duke.
There is a profit to be earned out of it. Not a fortune, but a profit's a profit.
And he made a very handsome profit on it, selling it on for £325. However, one dealer wiped the floor with the others. Alison paid Paul £150 more than he initially wanted for the Royal Doulton jug.
If that's the most you can go, then I think I'll be happy to accept your offer.
Great.
But Paul was cock-a-hoop to walk away with £550. And you could have knocked Alison down with a feather when she sold it on to an American client for £1,200. No one saw that coming.
I've got a nice little earner.
I'll say.